Get ready to cover your noses because there is an insane amount of BS coming from Natalie Portman in this absolutely ridiculous video that we are going to be talking about here. So let's just go ahead and get right into it because this situation is insane. And of course, it's just another situation where we have another Hollywood celebrity who is feeding us a bunch of BS. And there are unfortunately a lot of people out there that are going to buy into it, like the media, because the media is totally backing Natalie Portman up in this entire situation here. But as we know, there's this crazy thing that's happening in the MCU right now where they're continuing to destroy their legacy male heroes in order to prop up all these cringy female versions of those heroes in many ridiculous ways. We saw it with, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We saw it with even the Black Widow film. We saw it with with Captain Marvel. And now we are going to be getting the same thing with Thor: Love and Thunder, where Thor is going to be cucked and he's going to be basically replaced in most ways by female Thor, played by Natalie Portman. And Natalie Portman is here to tell us, with all of her BS, that Thor: The Dark World doesn't have anything to do with this. The criticisms that she got, the criticisms that film got, is not the reason why. It didn't affect her decision to come back to the MCU. So Natalie Portman says Thor: The Dark World being a critical flop didn't affect her decision to return to the MCU. And then right here it says this is just cringe.
Spoken like someone who is in the Star Wars prequels. Natalie Portman, so stunning and brave, coming back for Thor.
So stunning. But you know what did affect her decision to come back to the MCU? As we all know, a lot of money. Plus, she also gets to basically be the lead role in the film. She gets to cut off the hero at the knees and basically become the hero herself. Those are all pretty good reasons for her to return. But she's trying to make it sound like she's so stunning and brave for coming back to the Thor franchise after The Dark World. Even though for years now at this point, she hasn't been anywhere to be seen in the Thor franchise or in the MCU in general. She's been gone. She's been missing. But suddenly, when she gets this huge opportunity to return to the franchise, then suddenly she's going to take it. Of course she is. I'd rather her just be honest about that, about the reasons why she's returning to Thor: The Dark World, instead of pretending like it was just some moral, virtuous, feeling that she had deep inside that she had to return despite the Dark World. It's just ridiculous. Though the upcoming Thor: Love and Thunder is set to introduce some new faces to the Nine Realms, yada yada yada, we all know about the film. Jane was introduced in 2011's Thor as an ambitious scientist, yes, and then she was in The Dark World, which is widely considered to be one of the worst in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is weird because we're at a point now with the MCU where The Dark World is actually better than some of the films we've been getting recently from the MCU, which is not a good sign at all because The Dark World is a terrible film for different reasons as well. When Jane didn't return for the third installment, some viewers speculated that the previous project's negative reception had soured the Black Swan actress on the franchise. Yes, I mean, it totally makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, because Natalie Portman is one of these people who is an Oscar chaser. She is someone who is continuing to try to go after the Oscars and everything else. And, of course, she doesn't want films like Thor: The Dark World to be on her type of resume. So, of course, that's exactly what's going on here. But she wants to make it sound like it doesn't have anything to do with that, which is just a bunch of BS. And I'm so sick and tired of Hollywood elites and Hollywood celebrities feeding us all of these lies and all of this BS that they are just these morally virtuous people, that they just want to do what's good for people, and money doesn't affect any of their decisions or anything like that. Nothing like that. And I'm just sick and tired of it, man. I'm just sick and tired of all of the nonsense coming from Hollywood. It's just ridiculous. So then she talks about some of her previous films that weren't well received, but that didn't have anything to do with this. She just really just wanted to return because who knows why? Well, we all know why. It's because of the money. It's because of the status that this movie gets to give her and everything else. And this movie is just going to be a disaster, okay? I am not looking forward to Thor: Love and Thunder at all. I think this film is going to be really terrible. I think it's going to be a disaster, and once again, it's just going to be another situation where the MCU is starting to retcon its own franchise by replacing all of its characters. Either that, or it's just it's dumbing down their legacy characters, or it's basically cucking their legacy characters. All of this type of stuff is going on right now in the MCU, and it's insane. So let me know what you think about all this in comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe. I'd appreciate that a lot, and I'll talk to you all in another video very soon.